Hey, everybody. I'm Matt,
I'm Deanna.
and this is Chasing Balance. Welcome back to Chasing Balance. We got a good episode for you today. But first off, we got to talk about Mother's Day is coming up this weekend, isn't it?
It is.
And what was your favorite Mother's Day that you've had thus far?
It was probably the one where we went for the hike in the woods. That and then
That sounds so dreary. We took the kids on a hike in the woods. Oh boy, that was the best time ever.
Splatting.
And I haven't seen the kids since.
No. It was just relaxing and then we went to the farm.
Yeah, so that was fun in Kensington.
Yeah.
Went on a little nature walk and then we went to the farm. We had food there. That was fun. It wasn't last year where I made you a full meal from scratch, even lava
That
cakes.
was really good. That was
But that
good.
didn't top the
No, that was
leaving the
good.
kids in the woods.
And then I think I stay by the pool.
No, we didn't have a pool yet. No.
Oh, wait, was that 4th of July then?
Yeah. No, we didn't have the pool 4th of July either.
What holiday did I spend with that pool?
As soon as we had the pool, it was Christmas? I think it was Christmas. So anyways, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there that's doing it, with your partner or doing it solo. We salute you. We know it is not it's not really a thankful job, but happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Yes.
We do have a new episode for you, and this is called Hot Takes and Hard Truths. So these are controversial parent questions that we've faced, that we've either been asked by listeners or we've been, kind of scolded or told about as we were raising our kids on what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. So the purpose of this episode is to let you know that we explore these common issues and common questions, even though they're awkward, right? And I'm sure that you yourself has dealt with awkward and crazy questions in the past that may have questioned your sanity, or why am I friends with somebody that's asking me or debating me, on these questions. Now, to clarify, this is based on our family's experience. So there is no one size fit all, but this is just what we've come to find out works for our family, or the views that we've had within our household. And I'm actually pretty curious, Deanna, about what some of the stuff you're going to say, because there's stuff that's in the future that our kids haven't gone through as of yet.
Ooh. I haven't looked at the outline.
You haven't looked at the outline?
No, you
We're very
literally
prepared.
just handed it to me.
So
So I'm excited.
So we're going to go question by question of what we've received from the listeners, or what we have faced while raising our children. So we're going to get, our initial reaction from it, of these questions, what we've decided to do or what our answer is, and if they've changed, any surprise lessons or outcomes from them. And then we also invite, you as the listener or viewer, if you're watching us on YouTube, to comment back and let us know what your thoughts are. Even if they disagree with us, we're perfectly fine. We might say that you're wrong, but put them in there.
Give you all the reasons why.
Yeah, we'll tell you all the reasons why you're wrong. But no, seriously, we'd love to get the communication going even more so. So if you have any crazy questions, crazy situations that have come by to that are kind of awkward or controversial for you in your parenting journey, let us know. So they're kind of broken up into segments, and the first one is screen time and technology. So I'm going to ask you, how much screen time do we allow our children to have?
Realistically, I feel like we put it in. Are we talking about like when they're in school? Like during the school year, or like summer?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's break it down by both. So, like,
Okay. So in the summer, we do like we let them use uh technology in the morning
yeah,
and then right before bed.
yeah.
And then
And the rest of the day is play,
yeah,
friends, pool,
yeah,
do whatever you got
do
to do
whatever you
outside.
want. Yeah,
Yep,
outside or inside, whatever. So I would probably say it sums up to like 4 hours a day. Like
that's
two
pretty
hours,
fair.
yeah, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night.
I feel like it's more like, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's more like 1 hour in the morning,
Yeah,
then their friends come over, and then it's more like 3 hours at night before bed.
yeah,
But, and then obviously that's different during school because we don't allow them to use electronics during the morning
right.
whatsoever. And then after school, we let them use a little bit. And then when it's time for dinner or soccer or football or whatever it is, then they go to that and then they come home and use electronics. Now, if they
Yeah,
don't have any extracurricular activities that day, we typically, once dinner comes around, we say, hey, no electronics until 7
7.
or 7:30 or
Yeah,
whatever it is. So screen
and
time, we do set a limit on it. It's not like a hard limit,
right.
but we do set a limit on it. Like we are consciously aware. And some days when we have a lot of meetings, they get to use more.
Yeah, and then some days where we just don't want to do
Yeah.
anything.
We don't want to parent.
We don't.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it sounds terrible, but
no,
also it's like I feel like they need a break from us also.
there's going to
I need
be,
a break from myself. I'm pretty sure my children need a break from me.
there's obviously those times when we want to like catch up on or binge watch like Yellow Jackets or, I mean, the kids weren't around that, but Dexter or something like that, where you
Yeah.
just want to have the kids go do their thing and you do your thing, and screen time may be a little bit more lax that day.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, they tend to, like, watch a show and then hit that mark where they normally get it turned off and then go do something else. And it might be on in the background, but, I mean, we don't really stress that much about it. We
No.
like to stick within certain parameters, but I'm not a huge stickler on it. We get more strict regarding the content of what they're watching
And the good thing about, yeah, the content, yes. The good thing about Max, though,
or
which
what
is
they're
our
doing.
youngest,
Yeah.
which really gets a lot more, I guess, freedom to use screen time than any of the others because he's, not full-time school, is that he gets bored with electronics. He
He
gets
does.
bored and he starts building Legos.
Yeah.
So we kind of lucked out there. The next question is should I allow my children to play video games?
I say yeah.
Yeah, we do. We let our kids play video games. We obviously, just like the content on TV, we kind of set a limit. Deanna doesn't really know certain video games, so I kind of say yes or no, right?
Yeah, if there's anything that involves any type of like war or fighting,
Yeah.
I immediately decline and put it over to you
Yeah. So
to
like
like look into.
and I know it
If
sounds
it's
stupid.
Mario based, I'm good with it.
Yeah, they're allowed to play all the Marios, the Yoshis,
Yes.
all that good stuff. Now, if it's war based, as far as like Call of Duty or Counter Strike, we don't allow them to play it. We don't allow Preston to play it. He's wanted to play it for a long time. I mean, just said no. They are allowed to play um, Fortnite though.
Yes.
So, and that's a little bit different, I guess. I mean, yes, there are still guns, but
There's no
there
blood.
there's no blood. You're basically a simulation, and then when you get eliminated, you get taken up by a drone, and it's not even called being eliminated. What is it called? Oh yeah, it's being called eliminated. You're not killed.
Right. And that's what we kind of
You've told them.
yeah, we've told so it's not like killing.
Don't say I just killed this guy. Say
Yeah, I
I
just
just
eliminated.
eliminated this guy.
Yeah.
As silly as that sounds, but going from the video games, it's not really technology on this. However, talking about guns inside the video games, a question we've got is, do you allow your kids to play with toy guns?
Yeah.
Funny enough, we just got laser guns today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
And
it's
Nerf guns. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that because
you just
just
don't.
because.
Yeah, I mean I had toy guns as a kid.
Yeah.
I went played laser tag. I had the cap guns and the pop guns and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I had water guns, and when I put those down, I didn't go and cause harm to somebody,
Right.
right?
Yes.
I believe the reason why we get that question is, because of all the school shootings that are out there. And I really do think that obviously the school shootings have to do with, teaching your kids about weapon safety,
Hmm.
um, you know, making sure that they don't have access to something like that.
Yeah. And if it's something that's inside your house, making sure that it's secure
Yeah.
and it's not within reach and it's in a spot where they definitely cannot get to.
And they don't even know where it is, right?
Exactly.
Um, and then on top of that, it also has to do with the parenting, right? Like, and
Hmm.
mental state of the child.
Hmm.
Um,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, it's the mental state of the child, and some of those shootings, unfortunately, came from kind of, I guess, broken homes or um, neglected or ignored children,
Yeah.
right? So, yes, we do allow the kids to play with guns. We do have silly
Toy guns.
rules. Toy guns, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. Yes, we allow them to play with guns and Nerf guns and all the make-believe stuff. We do have like silly rules, like you can't put it in anybody's face, even if it's not loaded. You can't,
Especially the dog.
yeah, you can't point it at the dog.
Yep.
You can't say, I'm gonna kill you. Like there's certain things that we say have that may sound like silly rules, but we hope it
Yeah.
kind of instills them that this is pretend,
Yeah.
right? Um, that was kind of a little rant off of the video game thing. However, going back to technology, should you give your child a phone?
Um, I think yes, once they get to a certain age, once
Right,
they're at the age where they are no longer um around you, or they have to be at like the school or something after hours, and you need to come and pick them up. Like
right,
let's say, for example, like Preston's of the age where his football practice is like 3 hours long.
right.
I'm not the type of person that's going to sit there and watch
3 hours worth of
12-year-olds
practice.
play football for 3 hours. I'm
Right,
sorry.
right.
I love them, but if I can get back home
Yeah.
and chill out for a little bit
And
and then
sit
go
by your
back,
pool.
yeah, and then go back and get them, I'm going to do that. So in that case, in that situation, yes, he has a phone so that I can get to him.
Yeah,
But we also have a lot of rules regarding that phone. If you're going to go out and hang out with your friends, your phone has to be charged.
yeah.
You can't leave.
Has to be at least
Yeah.
over 20% or something before you leave the house.
Yep. And then you have to answer us.
Yeah.
You have to respond.
You
Um
can't leave your phone in your backpack 200 yards away from you.
or in the front yard and
Yeah,
then just go inside
while it's
somebody's
raining.
house. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um
No, and I think that's the same thing. I don't think we did it just because of sports at school, because COVID was going on then, I think, when we got the first phones.
yeah.
And any parents out there that are on Verizon, they do have a thing called
Gizmo.
Gizmo, and it's a Gizmo watch. It's a watch that you can program in like 10 people's number, 10 contacts.
Yeah.
That was a really horrible way to state it. 10 people's
people's.
numbers. So you can put that in there. Um, the messed up thing about that, though, is that on that Gizmo, I know, I'm still harping on this shit.
It has
You're,
been 4 years.
the kid can't call 911 from that Gizmo watch. And on your bill, you're charged a 911 service fee for that line, just like every other line is. But anyways,
Just so you know,
I digress.
he called multiple times
I
and
did. I called
complained
Verizon.
about
Like, this is
this.
bullshit. Why am I paying for this? But that's just how I am. So we did switch to, a different cell phone carrier. They didn't have the watches, so we got them phones.
Yeah.
And I think that we got them phones more so the fact that um, we trusted both of them to leave our property without them.
Yeah. We had and they had a lot of good friends within the neighborhood, and the
Right.
lots were bigger.
Yeah, and our
And
neighborhood is bigger.
yeah,
Yes.
and
Yep.
they had to leave. They were farther away from us. So even if they didn't have their phone on them, we had like the tracking on
Yeah.
the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Um
The Life 360.
Yes. Sorry, I was trying to think. What we originally got it with the watches, so then it was
Oh, the
always
gizmo.
tracking
Oh,
their
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
tracking like where they were. And then that's why the rule came into play about don't leave your backpack in the front yard if you're gonna end up going inside somebody's
Right.
house or
That was the nice thing about the watches
yeah,
that they were always on them, right? But
exactly.
they're kids, and they broke so easy.
Yeah.
They'd shatter the screen, and it's like these are not made for kids.
Yeah, and I mean, if somebody says, "Well, why don't you just get them an Apple Watch or something like that?" No, thank you.
Yeah.
I
No.
appreciate it.
No.
But my children break everything, and they're not Apple Watch money yet. They're not at that.
Not until they get a job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not at that place yet.
So we talk about the balance and the content control and the age appropriateness of everything. Really, it's the you know how much screen time should children have? Well, it depends on their age. It really does. Um, and it really just depends on their own discipline, right?
Mhm.
Like we could leave the TV on for Max, our youngest, all day long, but he would not sit in front of it. Now, if we did that for our middle child, he would sit in front of it all day long.
He would have the best day of his
Yeah.
life too.
Yeah. So you got to look at the age appropriateness of certain things, and then also what they kind of are like. What's their mo? Are they going to be this person that sits in front of the TV all day? Okay, then I do need to set time for them.
Mhm.
And then also look at the video games. Like, one day we're going to have to say, yes, Preston, you can play Counter-Strike. Brayden, you need to leave the room. You shouldn't be watching. You can play this, right?
We don't necessarily have to.
Well, I mean, come on.
There will be a day where that question comes and we'll contemplate it. Yes.
It's just like social media. Like, there's a day that we're going to say, Preston, yes, you can start using social media. And Brayden, no, you can't. You know it.
I know, but I just don't like to think about it.
Yep.
I like to think about the fact that I will be old and he's still
They're still
old.
young.
Yeah.
They just have some
No.
kind of disease that they don't grow
No.
up.
No, they'll just still be sweet and innocent.
So you want them to live with us our
No.
entire lives. Got it.
No.
Let's move on. So the next the next area is boundaries and discipline. And here's a funny one for you. Believe it or not, people are asked this question and they actually contemplate this when they're having children or raising their children. Should you tell your child no? You're laughing. So we're laughing because our child, we told him we were recording, is actually down here while we're recording, showing us a Lego. Let's see it. Let's see it on camera. Let's see this Lego. Look how cool that Lego is.
Mm-hmm. Hey, good job, love.
All right, take it upstairs, bud.
Careful feet. Yes, you should let your children know.
Yeah. I mean,
Frequently. No, I'm just kidding.
every single chance you get.
You should default to no.
Even if you're lying.
No,
It could be the sunniest day outside. Your kid goes, "Is it a sunny day?" You say, "No." Just everything. But no, I mean, yes, if there's things you need to put your foot down, absolutely tell your child no.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. It
Obviously,
goes back to
I mean,
like our gentle parenting episode that I did not like. Yes, you tell your child no. Do you want to talk about it? We can talk about the reasons
yeah.
why I don't believe you should be doing this or whatever it is.
And then sometimes we can find a middle ground.
Sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
So it's a fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a fine line. And I feel like I love to hear everybody's opinion. And I love to
Love?
No, I'd like to hear their opinion, especially if it's like a different opinion of mine.
Okay.
It makes me happy that they don't like fall in line, essentially, and that they're comfortable enough to like have an opinion or say what's on their mind, even though like sometimes it's like not right.
I see what
But
you're saying if
yeah,
it's like a conversation,
yeah.
but like if it's something that's expected of them and then they start arguing and shit,
Oh, if it's like something like they
do
were
the
yeah,
dishes.
do the dishes. Oh, I don't want to do the dishes, and then like going on and like
Right.
complaining and back talking. Then
And
no,
that's their
no,
chore that
thank
they
you.
get paid for.
Yeah, no, thank you. If it's something like, hey, this is what I need you to do, and it's like spur of the moment, and they're like, I don't really want to do that. And then we have like a conversation, and then
Right.
I'm better with that. But if it's something like, hey man, you were supposed to be doing this,
Right.
and then it turns into this argument and everything, no.
Should your kids be able to backtalk? I don't know if I would want to call it backtalk, because backtalk is really the thing where they're being sassy and they're being disrespectful when you are telling them to do something or you're putting your foot down on a certain situation. Having a discussion, if it's like, hey, can I go to Cedar Point with my friends tomorrow? And you're like, no, you can't do that. It's not like a firm, like, no, screaming at it, and then they blow it out of proportion.
Mhm.
Right. And then you have the discussion of why, which we do, and there's typically a good, so there's difference. So I look at back talk as something negative that the child is doing.
Like mocking
Just being
or being a smartass.
being a smartass, being disrespectful, and
Yeah.
not listening kind of to like the family rules that uh they know are in place in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Like that's, I feel like what back talk is. It's like completely disrespecting you.
Mhm.
Now, if it's like a different situation as far as discussion goes of why they can't do something, as far as like going to a friend's house or going to a party or I don't know, buying something really expensive, then we can have a discussion. I
Mhm.
know I'm trailing on here about this, so you can cut some of this stuff out. But all right.
No, I
So
agree with that.
the next one is for boundaries and discipline is, should you spank your child? And we actually just talked about this
Yeah.
on our last episode of how we were raised.
Hmm.
Now, I have swatted the boys' butts a few times
Yeah.
when it kind of needed to be done. Um, Talking, timeouts, threats of taking something away, loss of privileges, or anything like that didn't work.
Hmm.
It's very far and few in between.
Yeah.
Um, but should you spank your child? I can't tell you what you should do.
Right.
The listener, I can't tell you guys what you should do. I mean, it's
I don't.
yeah, you don't. It's your own moral, I guess, compass. Maybe it's the way that you were brought up on if you think that you should, and if it, I guess, quote unquote, taught you a lesson or got you to fall in line for a little bit. Or I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah. I tend to, I mean, I don't do that, but I tend to like flick the cheek, flick
Okay.
his cheek,
Yeah.
and it gets more of like a shocked response.
Yeah.
And then it kind of shakes them out of whatever the heck they're doing at that point in time. And then I try to get them to calm down.
So you
No, I,
lightly flick their cheek. You don't obviously cause harm to their cheek. It's more of a thing to like kind of snap them out of it. It's kind of one of those
or it's like
places.
even their shoulder or something like that. It's not,
Yeah.
my intention is to get them to be, to,
It's not to be abusive. It's
right,
not to
no,
cause pain. It's to get them to kind of, what the heck was that?
right. And
Yeah.
then kind of shake out of it and then try to get them to calm down so then we can have a conversation.
Because they get sometimes when, especially the younger ones, getting that repetitive over and over circular reasoning
Mm-hmm.
and ask for the same thing over and over and over and can't break the cycle. Something like a little tiny flick in the cheek or shoulder um, kind of snaps them out of it.
Yeah. And I will say that each child is different. That tactic
Yeah.
worked only for our middle child.
Only Braden.
Only Braden. It only works for Braden.
I was flicking Max so hard and he just wouldn't stop.
No, like I tried it once with Max and he full on just went into attack mode. And I'm like, all right, this was the wrong approach. I just made things a lot worse.
So
But and then in those cases, I just tend to just walk away. Like
yeah,
if his
flicking your own cheek, walking away. You're so dumb. How'd you think this would work? During the discipline philosophy of what has worked for us and what hasn't. So obviously, talking typically does work. Uh, Sharing reason with them, having those consequences that if something was done inappropriately, as far as listening to us or not following the rules, something will get taken away. They'll lose a privilege. Um, and then obviously, if you go back to spanking, should you spank your child? I'm going to say no for legal purposes. Um, But no, I can't answer that for you. I don't know how you were raised. Like I said before, I was spanked as a child, and it didn't ruin me. It didn't uh, change my outlook on life. It didn't, do anything horrible to me. And then
Just have a
obviously,
gentle twitch.
yeah, I just twitch now every time you yell at the kids. Every time you open the kitchen drawer with a wooden spoon, I twitch a little bit. So like, and then also spanking can backfire, right? Because like I remember when I was 14, I don't know if I was 14, maybe 12, 13, whatever it was. I was getting to be a preteen,
Mhm.
and I remember getting spanked. Like I was walking up the stairs or something because my mom or my dad swatted me. And I just remember like, holy shit, this doesn't hurt. And I just started laughing.
Oh my God. No,
Yeah.
that was the worst
It was
choice.
probably the worst choice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got the whole kitchen drawer thrown at me that time. No,
I
but I mean, I mean, it's not the reaction of your, I guess that's the thing. Like, it's not the reaction of it actually hurting, right? It's kind of like you said, like when you just kind of lightly flip their cheek, it kind of snaps them out of it. But I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't know how much we're going to cut out of this. But let's move on to this last sentence for this topic is
You're really excited about this one. Let's just
no.
fumble
Say
through.
mention. I shouldn't say mention. This is about really the boundaries and discipline are about respect versus obedience, right? Like
Mhm.
exactly what we were talking about with do, do you allow your child to talk back?
Right.
They don't talk back. If they don't talk back, they are obedient. If they do try to have a discussion with you, that is respectful. And then that is a huge difference, right?
Yes.
Between
100%.
being disrespectful and talking back
Hmm.
and trying to understand something
Yeah.
to reason with you.
Yes.
Even if mom and dad are going to win, right?
Yes.
But at least they get the
Yeah.
understanding.
Yep. And I agree with that. And then I mean, even in the boundaries and the disciplines, the things that another thing that has worked for us is timeouts. We've used that with all of our kids and just like a little break. And even for us, like there are times where I'll have to take timeouts and I'll just be like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that we can do right now. Like you and I are not on the same page.
I think we started doing the
Mhm.
timeouts like when we were watching like Super Nanny.
We did,
But
yes.
I don't know if
Yes.
we did timeouts with Preston, but I know we did it with Brayden and Max. But Preston was, whew, he was a toddler, I'll tell you.
He was something.
He was unique for sure.
Mhm.
Um, going
He's a
on,
great kid now.
he definitely is. Yeah,
He's turned
it's all
out
the
to be a
flicks in the cheek.
boy.
He's got a twitch now from
Come
that.
on.
He's always like, anybody ever taps him on the shoulder, he's like, what the fuck? So the next topic,
God.
the next subject of questions is life preparation and responsibility. So this question is should you pay your children to do chores?
I think that once they get to a certain age, it's totally fine if you want to, although I don't think that it's entirely necessary. If they're the type of kid that needs like the incentive in order to do it,
Yeah.
maybe like a small amount and then, they can save up. But if they're not and they're really happy with being helpful around the house, then tell us your secrets.
Yeah, like I said, we have a neighbor that, their kid is younger than our oldest, and he gets on that zero turn lawnmower and is happy as a clam to cut their grass.
Hmm.
And I got
Yep.
to pull teeth to get
Yep.
someone to cut our grass. And
Meanwhile, your kid has a landscaping company, and he's just like,
no, you didn't hear? It went under. Chapter
shocker.
11, bankrupt. So I look at it two different. There is two different ways of looking at it, right? I see these influencers online that talk about this, like, no, you shouldn't pay your fucking kids to do chores around the house, right? Like, that's their responsibility to help with the household. So I kind of see when they say that, but it's also like they're children,
Yeah, I
right?
don't want to do it, and I'm an adult.
Right. And then I look at it as, should I pay them to help out? And I think, should I be paying them? They should be helping out
They
too,
should be.
because they have really nice lives and they have a lot of good things.
Hmm.
So right now, the current mood that we're in, we pay them.
Yeah,
And honestly,
we pay 2 of them.
it doesn't work. It doesn't always work. Like we set up a thing for them to check it off, and if they check it off, then they get paid at the end of the week. And they still argue about the chores, and they still argue about all this stuff, and they don't check it off, and
And
they
they are
don't get
still
paid.
so surprised
Yeah,
every day
right.
that they have to do the same chores.
Yeah.
Like, you mean to tell me I have to do the dishes again? Like, shocked.
Come look at our laundry room.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we should do our laundry. So should children get paid to do chores? We do. We do think that they should. Sometimes we treat it as, oh, you want to go do this special thing or go on this special occasion with your friends or a trip, Michigan Adventures, or something like that. We need you to help out doing this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of a trade-off for this bonus.
Right.
Do you have anything else to add to the chores?
Mm-mm.
No. The next one is how to teach children work ethic.
Um,
This is kind of a hard one. It's not really a
it
yes or
is.
no type of thing.
Well, I would say that it would probably apply mostly to like schoolwork, like just doing your best and putting your best foot forward, right?
Yeah,
And then
but I would
like
also say
seeing,
sports too.
yeah, and then doing your best, putting your best foot forward, and then also don't quit,
Yeah,
essentially, but also know your worth.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, the schoolwork for sure. You see that payoff with obviously your grade, right?
Right.
And if your grades are good, mom and dad are happy, and you typically get rewarded for your good grades,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sports, that's kind of a no-brainer in a way. If they're motivated by that sport, if they really
Yeah.
like it, right? Like Braden with soccer. If you work hard, you will reap those benefits at your game,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
That shows your work ethic. Um, I learned work ethic, and I'm sure you did too, differently by our parents. Um, I probably didn't learn like the best way because I learned work ethic by my dad not being home a lot, right? I know it's funny, but it's also kind of sad,
It's
right?
very sad. Yeah.
Um, and it's not that he like ran away or anything, or he
Right.
was on the
No.
road truck driving or anything like that. He just worked really long hours, and he would be at work before the kids would wake up. He would come home from work after dinner,
Yeah.
and then it was the wash, rinse, and repeat the whole cycle, and he typically had one day off a week.
Where he had to do all of the chores.
Yeah, and that's when he cut the grass and all that stuff. And
Shampoo the
I didn't get
carpets.
paid for my allow or for chores, and I would cut the grass and I would do that stuff as much as I could. But I mean, even when I was younger, when I wasn't allowed to touch the lawnmower, my parents didn't trust me for good reason. Um, uh,
I can only imagine what the lawn would look like.
what would my body would look like?
You would.
What my neighbor's dog would look like? What the neighborhood kids would look like.
Oh my gosh.
I was a bad kid. So yeah, that's where I learned my work ethic from, is my dad kind of just working long, long hours and providing for his family.
Yeah, and I learned mine more when I was a lot older. Like
Okay.
when I started working with my dad. And like that's when I kind of learned mine, essentially. Maybe in high school when I
Yeah.
had to really put a lot of effort into like getting back into like
A good school
a
district.
good, yeah, and a good grade standpoint and actually like caring about that.
Right.
Um, but I pretty much learned all that from him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the kids are going to see it. I'm sure our kids
Yeah.
are going to see that I am, always working. The difference is that I'm at home,
Yeah.
so I can
And
like
you
get up,
walk,
walk
yeah.
away, do something with them, or if they're in
And
the
they
if
have
they're
like me to counteract that. And like Braden will
run
consistently
interference.
consistently be like, "Why are you there? Nobody likes you."
That's because you bitch about everybody at your work.
Exactly.
I keep my stuff locked up.
I
Right?
don't.
No matter what they feel about me or I feel about them, I keep it locked up.
Yep. My
So,
kids, they know
but
the truth.
we are fortunate. If there is tough weeks where we do have to work a long time, long hours, we can, if the kids want to go in the pool and we have to watch them, we can bring our laptops outside and work and still watch them and be around them, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I am at an auto shop
Right.
where
Yeah.
you can't keep in touch. Um, so should the next one is for responsibilities is should your kids have jobs or should you allow them to have a job and at what age?
Um,
And this is kind of interesting timing,
it is.
right?
Yeah, like Preston, for example, he just got a job as well, he like umpires.
Hmm.
So he gets assigned certain games and he goes out and umps them and gets paid a stupid amount of money for doing like 2 hours of work.
It's pretty good pay, yeah,
It is.
for a 12-year-old.
Yeah. And I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Now I because it's a something that he loves. It's a sport that he loves.
Yeah.
It's a way to be involved and he's learning a whole different side of things. So I'm good with that.
Hmm.
Now if you were to be like, "Hey, could I go and work at
Kroger as a cart boy,
exactly."
right?
Not so much
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, you
Like
don't need a full
we don't need to do that.
you don't need a full shift,
Exactly.
right?
So I guess the age and then your child it's every child is different.
Hmm. Yeah, so he doesn't need like a full shift at Kroger. Now, one of the things I will stand firm on, and I think you have my back on this, is that if the kids' grades, we said it before, if the kids' grades slip,
Mhm.
I'm not going to pull them out of sports.
Right.
But if the kids' grades slip or they start slacking in sports,
Mhm.
I will tell them they are not allowed to work that job anymore.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to do that.
No, or if they're disrespectful to us.
Right. Yeah. Wait, what?
If they can't hold up their part of the bargain at home, doing
Okay.
the chores that we ask them, the 2 or 3 chores that we ask them to do a
Okay.
day, like dishes, wipe the table down, and feed the
Okay.
dog,
All right.
then I will gladly say, I'm not going to go out of my way to drop you off at your job,
Oh, okay.
right?
I
If
see what
you
you're
can't
saying.
help us out at home.
I went to there in high school.
Oh no, I'm
That's
talking
what it's
about right
like.
now.
Yeah.
Well, even in high school too. I mean, if they don't have a license,
Yeah.
right?
Then
So,
yeah. I guess that's true. All
so
right.
we discussed the pros and cons of allowances, and like if there's unpaid expectations, and then we also tried to talk about real world life skills learned from our parents and their work ethic. I do think our children will see how we work and play off of that. I do think that if they ever have to go in for a job, it will be very
That
weird. Yeah. Like, wait, I stay here all day? That's crazy.
why?
Right. Can I take my laptop to the baseball field? So that will be different for them. Um, the next subject matter on here is called lifestyle and values. So, one question that a lot of parents ask, especially new parents, is where do you get the best quality of education for your children? Now, you know more about this when you researched it. We did live out in South Lyon for South Lyon
Mhm.
schools. We didn't have kids at that time, so I really wasn't even looking at that. You were looking at that,
Mhm.
right? I didn't. I kind of, ignorance. I just kind of thought all public schools were treated equally, right? Which is,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, I kind of knew that, like, probably Detroit public schools are not as good as South Lyon public schools, right? Obviously,
No, that's false.
Detroit public schools is better.
Well, I mean, they have a lot of charters out in Detroit now
Oh,
that are really really good. But and then there's also some public schools sections that are better than others.
yeah,
It just depends on where you're at. But I wouldn't say that as a blanket statement.
no.
Um,
Well, we go ahead. What were you gonna say?
so what we kind of did was we kind of just looked at what the school itself is rated. the school district itself is rated,
Yep.
and then we kind of went from there. We favored South Lyon at the time,
Mhm.
because of the rating. And then once we got into the school system, um, I think that it kind of brought to light some areas that I wasn't really focusing in on. And
Preston was gifted
yeah,
in a good way.
yeah. And so it didn't accommodate and help him excel.
Mhm.
So then that's when we started to look into charters. And that's when we found the school district that we now have all of our boys in. So it basically, we went for the route of what's the best within where we can live. And then does that best align with what we want our our children to experience and be exposed to?
Or do the schools around where we're going to live offer school of choice?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we picked South Lyon to move to because it was nice. It was a new construction home and the school district.
Mhm.
That was all on you. I wouldn't have researched that. Then you finally get your kid
I
into
was
there.
pregnant at the time.
Yeah, I still wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about the nice new house. I was thinking about the 2x4s and the lumber, all that stuff. So, and then we ended up not it ended up not working out because our oldest was gifted. He was on a kind of an accelerated track, or he could be, and they did away with that program at that school.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like his needs were being met. So we did end up moving our entire family to a new school district to be closer to the one that we saw them excel at. And obviously, if you heard to the COVID episode, we moved out right to the school that we wanted right when all the schools shut down. So that was kind of funny. Now, a tip, and I'm sure maybe you did this, but one of my marketing jobs is with a home builder, and I do sometimes have to list homes, new construction homes, on Zillow or Realtor.com, and it is a requirement for me. What's so funny?
Continue. I feel like this was like the one thing that I focused in on. You focused in on like the lot size. I focused in on the school district
Yeah,
within the
but
Zillow listing. Is what you're
but
saying?
now but now yeah. So when I list homes now, it is a requirement that I put before I can even save the home for it to go live. It is a requirement that you had to put the school district in,
Mhm,
and you have to put the high school, the public high school that is in that district in there.
mhm.
And you will see all these ratings on Zillow or realtor.com or whatever. And I'm sure there's obviously other websites, right? That you can
Yeah.
go on to see
Yeah.
school ratings. So if you're looking for a home, make sure you scroll down
Wait,
all
it
the
has
way.
the school's rating on there now?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's new to me.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty
that
sure.
was like the one thing that I focused in on, Matthew.
I can look it up right now. I say
Bec-
Matthew.
Because you were implying that you're like, you might not have known this.
No, no, no. No, I was talking to the users. Like maybe they didn't know this. And I said this is probably something that you paid attention to. Yeah,
Oh.
I'm just gonna go to some random listing here and see. So there's a house in South Lyon. I'm on Zillow. I know I have to put it in for a new construction home. So I'm wondering if existing homes have to. Yeah, it's in there. So right at the bottom, if you keep scrolling down. So if you're on Zillow and you're looking to move, scroll all the way down past where are you ready to talk to an agent? Blah blah blah. Go all the way down and it'll tell you what elementary school, what middle school, um, what high school, what the whole district is, and it gives you a rating right there. So like Salem Elementary, it'll tell you right there is 5 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
So it didn't do that before we moved, did it?
It didn't, no.
So it's on there. It's kind of hidden. So make sure that you scroll down. So that's kind of a little parenting hack for you, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Mm.
Um, I'm pretty sure that realtors and home builders have to. It's a requirement to put that in now before the listing can even go live. So that's
That's interesting. I like
pretty
that.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next thing about lifestyle and values, the question is should you make your child go to church?
No.
No. Would it be different if we were church going people? Maybe we would have them come with us. But we've always we said it just like how we were raised in the last episode. We don't force beliefs, uh, religious beliefs on our children. I mean, even political beliefs, we don't force them on our children or anything like that.
Yeah.
But no, I can't imagine us forcing our child to go to church when it was forced upon me and my siblings. You know, it wasn't like, hey, I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't get in the car, but it was like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And I did not want to be there.
And I mean, and also from my point of view, I wasn't forced to do it. Um, and I wouldn't force my kids to do it because like a lot of my friends had to do it.
Yeah.
And then I would just hang out by myself when they were up at
I
church.
was
And
sleeping in, watching cartoons.
no, because they would do like the whole like I don't know, Sunday school and like
Mhm.
they were gone for hours.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
how much Jesus do you guys
and
need
then
on a
sometimes you'd
Sunday?
go back and you'd have events.
Yeah.
And then like there was one summer, maybe 2 summers in a row, we went to, I can't remember what they called it, Christian camp or Bible study camp, but it was there at the church. And you did, I don't know. It was, I don't remember one damn thing I even learned from that, you know? Um, yeah, I just didn't have the best experience.
Yeah.
I just remember being bored and this doesn't make sense, right?
Hmm.
It was kind of like, I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want to offend anybody. But yeah, it just didn't make sense to me. Even at a young age, it just didn't make sense, the teachings and
Yeah.
why I had to be there.
And I mean, to be like, to give a different side of things, like we don't do that in our, we believe no in our house. We wouldn't make our kids do it because that's not the experience that we have, and we don't want to put that on to them. However, if that is what you and your family do, and
Yeah,
you're still contemplating that, maybe that's like a big um point where you guys can open up a discussion and have a discussion and like maybe try to see their side of things and like explain your side of things, and if
yeah,
they aren't happy going, maybe give them the opportunity to talk about it.
yeah. I mean, they would have to be older, right? Like
Yeah.
even me, I think we stopped going to that church when I was 10 or 11, so I was younger, so I wouldn't have known how to voice my opinion. I probably would have just said, "Mom, Dad, I'm bored."
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't want to do it. So like I wouldn't have a good reasoning. But if they're older, that 12, 13, 14 years old, then maybe you can have that conversation with them. Um so yeah, we did talk about that on our last episode. If you didn't
Yeah.
catch it, check that out. It's called How We Were Raised. The next part in this episode, which actually is the last part of it, the two questions that we have left is kind of an independence and milestone type of thing. And it is, what is, and this is the thing that I don't know what your thoughts are on it, right?
Yeah.
What is the appropriate age that they can start dating?
Like, what are we talking about dating? Like going out on a date?
Yeah, I guess going out to,
If they have their own means of transportation.
yeah, so at 16, you'd be good with Preston taking a girl out to a dinner or movie.
Yeah, if he had his own, like, if he had his car and then he had some like spending money and that's what he wanted to do, then yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Now, what do we call it when, because there have been times when our oldest has gone over to a girl's house that he was quote unquote boyfriend girlfriend with. Is that a date?
It's like
Well,
that's a
they went
hangout.
ice skating together.
Yeah, and they did. He like taught her how to ice skate and like
Was that a date? Because he was
yeah,
11.
he was. And I think that it was like his first like date, but I feel like that wasn't really a date because her mom and I were there. So
Yeah.
I feel like that was just like a monitored hangout
Well,
sesh.
what do you think happens with the dates if your parents aren't there?
I'm
What
just
do
saying,
you consider a date?
like, no,
You nasty?
that's what I'm
Just
obviously
kidding.
I wasn't saying that at 11 they would be doing that.
Right.
That's why I'm saying like at 16 when he has a car,
16 is dangerous.
it is dangerous.
A car. That's
Yes.
dangerous.
Are you trying to get me to say no?
No, I completely agree with you on the
Okay.
I- I'm just trying to be the voice of reason here. I'm trying to talk through another lens, right?
Yeah.
I can see why some people wouldn't want
I
their,
was 17 when I met you.
yeah. No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was.
Were you?
Yeah.
Man, to go back to those days and run. No. So yeah, no, I agree with you. 15, 16 years old, I think that's when you can kind of start, I don't know, quote unquote dating. Like I was, probably 14, 15 that we would go out with our girlfriends to like the rock and bowl or something like that on a Friday night
Mm.
for
Yeah.
school. And it wasn't really supervised. I mean, it was like a lockdown, but your parents didn't come. It was kind of like a date with boyfriends, girlfriends,
Yeah.
from high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, that's going to be, and I can see why some people wouldn't want to let their kids date until they're 18, 19 years old. I can absolutely see that. Um, from both sides, boys and girls, whatever you have as a child, I can see there's
But also,
positives and
yeah,
negatives.
from my side of view is they're gonna fuck up, and they're gonna be stupid, and they're
On
gonna
these dates.
no, I'm saying like once they get to a point where they're like dating and
Yeah.
everything, they're gonna screw up, they're gonna be stupid, they're going to
How are you saying screw up? What do you mean? I'm thinking the worst case,
no,
like
obviously,
pregnancy.
like no, okay. No, I'm just saying, like, they're probably going to, get heartbroken. They're going to have
Oh,
the
right.
breakups. They're going to, do crazy, stupid things and, like, skinny dip and, like, whatever.
So you want them to learn, kind of,
Yeah,
through
before they're,
trial and
like,
error.
technically adults.
Yeah.
And I want them to be able to, once they have that heartbreak and, like,
So if they screw up, they're minors, right? That's what you're saying. They can't be held as adults.
no, you are twisting my words. I am saying that I would like them to, when they're ready and
Yeah.
they go out and they experience it, 16, 17, whatever, they're still under our house so that if they have that fall down and heartbreak and all that stuff,
We're here.
we are here and we can help them learn from that if they want us to.
Right.
Instead of like holding off until they're 18 and they're off in college. No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's pregnancy city right there.
No, I get it. I understand what you're saying. It's kind of like you kind of go through trial relationships in a way and you learn from it, right? And
Right.
I guess heartbreak isn't as bad when you're 15, 16,
Exactly.
right? Um, Obviously I only know that from the men's side of things, but it is what it is, and you kind of moved on. Um,
And I remember there was like multiple, no, I remember that
oh Lord.
there was like guys that I would start dating and I
Right.
would bring back to the house,
Yeah.
to like my dad's house and
Yeah.
like introduce them to my dad or whatever. My dad would just be like, "Oh, really nice to meet you." And then we would go to like leave and he'd be like, "Nope." And then I would come home later on. He's like, "Never want to see that person again."
Wow.
And
Well, at least he was honest with you, right?
yeah, you were the only one that he was like, "Have fun." And then
I don't believe you.
I'm 100% serious.
Really?
Yeah. And then the only thing that he had negative to say about you in the most Bill negative way.
Yeah.
What's with all that jewelry?
Was
Because
I wearing jewelry?
that was when you were wearing like the
The
dog
dog tags and
tags and
stuff. Yeah.
like
Those when I
and you
was
had the big
gangster.
yeah, big earrings.
Oh yeah. Times have changed.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so I agree with you on the dating age for sure. Like 15, 16, I could see that happening. Um, when the next part is when will we let our children learn to drive?
Um, Preston, I think right when he can get his learner's permit. Braden,
Yeah,
I feel like 18 would be too soon.
I feel the same exact way. It's all about, and it's funny. I was talking to my dad about this, the other day, like how, I was like his, riding buddy on the dirt bikes or the mopeds or the go karts and all that
Mhm,
stuff. Like that would be me.
mhm.
And I kind of saw it in my siblings, like either they weren't interested, or one of them just was not coordinated enough. You know which one I'm talking about. And I think it's the same way for our children. Not that they're not coordinated. It's just that, we can trust, I think we can trust Preston. He's
Yeah.
reliable, where Braden, he's really got to step it up and prove to us that he can because he's definitely got a lot of free will.
Yeah, so my apprehension is I know that Preston is very analytical
Right.
and he will observe and he catches things and his response time is very quick.
Right.
And in emergency situations, he knows exactly what to do.
Mhm.
He is like on it. Braden, I feel like he's the kind of kid that will get in the freeway and be like,
YOLO.
120. This car can go up to 120. Let's
What?
check it out.
My speedometer's got 3 digits on it. Let's see what I can get this up to.
Yeah, and I don't think that he's
He's looking at the odometer. He's like, Mom has gone out 199 miles. Let me see if I can beat a record. He just floors it.
Yeah. It's just yeah, I think that he needs to have some emotional growth.
Yeah. So we do hope that some of these questions, or all of the questions kind of related to you, shed some light on it. Maybe a little bit of humor if it's something that you've been dreading, either working on or talking about, or dealing with your children. Um, Parenting does not come with a manual, so you can Google a lot of things as when questions come up. But I'm telling you, you're going to get a version of each side, right? You're not going to
Yeah.
get nothing's really going to probably make you feel better.
No.
You just kind of gotta bite the bullet and see what works for you. There is no right answer, and it often depends on your child, just like we were talking about when we would let them drive,
Mhm.
right? Or the screen time. Each
Mhm.
child is different. It depends on your family values, on what you want to do as far as church and work goes. Um, and then obviously it depends on the season. You could think one way right now and completely change it in the winter. Right?
Exactly.
So we need to encourage open conversation from parent to parent, right?
Mhm.
Don't be one of those judgy parents that are out there judging you on, judging other parents on what they're doing, how they're raising their kids, and how you think that you have the best um, way of raising your kids. Maybe lend a hand, maybe give a little bit of advice, or maybe ask a few questions. We need to open up the conversation from parent to parent where we're not accusing and
Mhm.
we're just gathering more information and trying to help each other out, right?
Yeah.
It helps us all grow. Um, we invite the listeners. First off, we thank you for listening, and we invite you to share your thoughts. You can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media, which is Chasing Balance Podcast. And every time one of these episodes come out, it also comes out on YouTube with a bunch of nice shorts. If you don't have time to listen to the whole episode, you can check us out on there, see my wife's beautiful face, and see how we banter back and forth. Um, Once again, we greatly appreciate you listening. I'm Matt,
I'm Deanna.
and this is Chasing Balance.
Real life parenting, one conversation at a time.
We'll see you guys later.
Bye.